But Mike White absolutely lit up the Bears, who are pretty light upable, but somehow I don't have confidence Zach Wilson would have done it. Is this a further nail in Zach Wilson's coffin? And do you think that Mike White's just going to be the starter for the rest of the year? Is Mike White their 2023 day one starter? Like how into Mike White are we?
Well, let's talk about Zach Wilson first, because I think that one of the interesting things about Zach Wilson is that every quarterback who has played quarterback for the New York Jets since Zach Wilson got drafted has been better than Zach Wilson. And that is becoming
he's the CEH of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right? It's like every other running back who gets
everyone else is better
the Chiefs is great. Yeah,
it's wild. I like Zach Wilson. Like we
That's
talked about
title. Zach Wilson, CEH of quarterbacks.
We probably don't need to get into Zach Wilson all that much. I just would like to acknowledge the fact that he has been the worst quarterback, and it's not that he's just been the worst quarterback among Jets quarterbacks. The Jets quarterbacks aren't good quarterbacks. So like we're talking about Joe Flacco, like end of his career, Twilight Joe Flacco, and someone named I don't even forgot his name. Was it Mike White?
Yeah,
no,
Mike
White. Mike White.
Mike White. Yeah, Mike Smith is a goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers like a couple years ago.
Of course, yeah. Gordie Howe hat-trick got me in the wrong frame of mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, like what are we doing with Mike White? Not the quarterback or not the goaltender.
I mean, he's probably starting the rest. I think he is over 50% to start the rest of the season.
I think that as long as he doesn't embarrass the team, he's starting the rest of the season.
Yeah, like because they're in a playoff spot, right? Like obviously them going to him in the first place suggests that they're open-minded to the idea that Zach Wilson's benching is at least permanent for the rest of this season, and that they value trying to make the playoffs. Like if they didn't value trying to make the playoffs at all, they would have just let the ship go down with Zach Wilson. But they want to make the playoffs this year. They can make the playoffs this year. And as long as contention for it, I imagine Mike White just keeps starting.
Yeah, I think that Zach Wilson kind of like shot himself in the foot with his post-game conference where he was like, it wasn't my fault. I'm letting anyone down. What are you talking about? Like, that's just really bad for the locker room. And I think like players were speaking out about it. Like that Garrett Wilson rant was like not a great look. And then Zach Wilson goes out and he's like, wasn't my fault. What are you talking about?
Right. Yeah.
I ran the offense. We got 3 points. What do you want from me?
What do you think of Elijah Moore, though? So we talked about Mike White, right? Do we think? I mean, obviously, I don't think that Mike White's a long-term answer, but I think he could start for the rest of the year, and they have some weapons. The offense could be kind of fun. Do you think Elijah Moore is back? I've seen a lot of excitement about Elijah Moore. Where's your head at on Elijah Lab? Because he still carries like trade value. I saw in a league there was one of my buddies texted me the other day, and he was close to closing a deal, and the other guy insisted on adding a swap where my buddy got Calvin Ridley and his trade partner got Elijah Moore. And I was like, shouldn't that be the other way around? Like, we're insisting on being able to have the privilege to buy Elijah Moore for Calvin Ridley. Like I'm not there, but maybe you are. You're more eternally optimistic on bad wide receivers than I am when they fit your priors.
You know, it's interesting that you would say that I'm eternally optimistic, because that's what I hear all the time is how optimistic I am. So Elijah Moore, I just pulled him up on Keep Trade Cut to look at his value. Right. His value adjacent overall players, so regardless of position, is Dalton Schultz, which I'd rather have Elijah Moore, Khalil Herbert, which I'd probably rather have Khalil Herbert, Keenan Allen, which I'd easily rather have Keenan Allen.
Yeah, obviously.
And then we got Cole Kmet. I'd probably rather have Elijah Moore than Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet is a CDO. Like, that can't be a real thing.
And then we got Antonio Gibson. I'd probably rather have Elijah Moore.
Definitely be close to Antonio Gibson. Yeah,
I think I'd probably coin flip on that one. I don't have a strong preference either way. And then we have Wan'Dale Robinson, who I'd probably rather have than Elijah Moore. Yeah. So in looking at that, I feel like I don't really want to buy Elijah Moore.
No, we're good.
But at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking, you go down, like now you look at value adjacent wide receivers, and we add players like Donovan People-Jones and Josh Palmer, and I'd easily rather have Elijah Moore than those guys. So Elijah Moore is kind of like not my favorite buy, but I'm probably just holding at this point, and or like slight buying. Like if I can get him as a throw in